The conversation started so casually that at first I thought I'd misheard him. We were in the kitchen 2 weeks before my brother's wedding. I was rinsing a glass while my husband leaned against the counter, scrolling through his phone. "I invited Laura to the wedding," he said. I turned off the water. "Laura, my ex," he clarified, like it should have been obvious. "She's basically family. We were together for years. My parents still talk to her." The words hung there for a second. "And her husband." I asked. "He'll probably come too," he said with a shrug. Then he added something that shifted the entire tone of the conversation. "If you trust me, you'll get it." It wasn't an apology. It wasn't even really a discussion. It felt more like a quiet challenge, like the mature response was supposed to be immediate acceptance. So I smiled. "Of course I do." He nodded, satisfied, and went back to his phone. The conversation ended as smoothly as he'd expected. But the strange thing about moments like that is how they echo later. Over the next few days, I kept replaying the phrase in my head, "If you trust me." It sounded reasonable on the surface. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized something about the way it had been framed. My discomfort had already been turned into a test of my character. If I questioned it, I would be the insecure one. The rehearsal dinner seating chart arrived in our family group chat a few days later. I glanced over the list of names. My husband, Laura, her husband, all attending. Seeing it written down made the situation feel oddly structured, like everyone had their place in the arrangement. That's when a quiet idea formed, not revenge, just balance. I remembered meeting Laura's husband once at a mutual event. His name was Daniel. We weren't friends, but we had exchanged numbers in a group chat years earlier. I sent him a short message. Daniel. I saw you'll be at my brother's wedding weekend. The rehearsal dinner might be a little chaotic, so if you arrive before Laura is free to join you, feel free to sit with me. It might make things less awkward. It was a simple invitation. He responded later that evening. "That sounds great. Thanks for reaching out, Dao." And that was it. No drama. Just logistics. The rehearsal dinner took place at a restaurant terrace overlooking the water. String lights hung above the tables, and the air had that relaxed pre-wedding energy, people laughing, introducing themselves, passing drinks around. My husband and I arrived early. Laura showed up about 20 minutes later, greeting people with easy familiarity. My husband walked over and hugged her, like it was the most natural thing in the world. I watched from across the room. Then Daniel arrived. He spotted me and walked over with a polite smile. "You must be my seating coordinator." I laughed. "Something like that." We took our seats beside each other as the rest of the table filled in. My husband didn't notice immediately. He was still talking with my brother when he finally looked toward the table. That's when he saw Daniel sitting next to me. He paused, not dramatically, just long enough to register the unexpected symmetry. He walked over. "Hey," he said, a little cautiously. Daniel stood and shook his hand warmly. "Good to see you again." I smiled calmly. I thought it might be nice if Daniel didn't feel stranded tonight. The explanation sounded perfectly reasonable, almost identical to the one he'd given me earlier. Dinner continued. Daniel turned out to be easy company. We talked about travel, work, and the chaos of wedding planning. Laura eventually joined the table across from us, greeting Daniel and giving me a brief, thoughtful look. Around us, conversations carried on as usual, but something had shifted, not loudly, not enough to ruin the evening. Just enough that the balance in the room felt different. My husband grew quieter as the night went on. Later, driving home, he finally spoke. That was unexpected. I looked out the window before answering. "You said Laura was basically family," I said gently. I figured Daniel deserved a friendly seat too. He was silent for a moment. Then he said quietly, "I didn't think about how it might feel for you." I nodded. I know. The wedding happened the next day like nothing was wrong. But after that dinner, the words "trust me" carried a little more weight between us than they had before.